checking in. I'm going to be sharing with you some insights about loneliness today. Loneliness is a pandemic all on its own. And perhaps you're already aware, perhaps you can get a sense of what's going on out there. Whether you're feeling this yourself or whether you know somebody, or just know that there is quite a bit out there, especially when we're in a time where we have so much connection in so many different ways. The definition of lonely was an unpleasant feeling in response to perceived isolation. So, an unpleasant feeling in response to perceived isolation. And it was this word perceived that allowed me to think, right, let's see where we can take this. Perception is key. Perception is everything. What we perceive, the information that comes into us, is what dictates how we respond and how we feel. As a mind coach, it's really important for me to pick up if somebody's become limited by their perceptions. Identity is a key one here, and especially with the loneliness. If somebody is aware that they're lonely, because many people aren't aware that they're lonely, many people are suffering, and they often don't pin it down to the possibility that loneliness is driving the discomfort inside. So when somebody is aware, often I'll hear them say, I am lonely. I'm lonely, I'm all on my own, I've got to do this by myself. And it's the I am, it's the prefix to the word that is the biggest indicator here. When somebody has an identity, and remember all these identities, beliefs, values are all below conscious. So when somebody has a below conscious identity of I am lonely, their mind will only be sharing with them information that will support and maintain this identity. So let me go in a bit more into detail. Every single moment we're being bombarded with billions of pieces of information, and our conscious mind can only process a fraction of this. So we have mental filters in place, filters that allow our minds not to get frazzled and have our circuitry fried, and share with us a small amount of this data, which we use then to respond moment to moment and be consciously aware of. I'm going to paint you a picture of this. So imagine you're in a rainstorm, a really, really, really heavy rainstorm. You're being absolutely soaked. And somebody hands you an umbrella. Off. And then all of a sudden, you can see clearly. You're dry. Now we've also got a teeny amount leaking. A little stream coming down the handle and just pooling into the area of your hand that's holding the brolly. So the rain is going to be the information that's out there that we're surrounded with moment to moment. The umbrella itself is going to be our filter, our mental filters. And this little trail and stream of water that's coming in and pooling here, this little pool, which is also going to be gently overflowing and spilling over as it fills up, this is our conscious awareness. So where am I going with this, and what has this got to do with loneliness? This prefix, I am lonely, allows me to be aware that somebody's running an identity. If they're running an identity, I know that the subconscious mind is going to be filtering all the information that's out there and only let a stream of information come through that's going to support and maintain the identity. So a few examples for you. Somebody's in an office. They have the identity, I am lonely. They say something in a meeting and somebody turns their head away. Now instantly that causes pain. The person feels really uncomfortable. What they didn't notice was that actually that person was just checking their phone, and had they remembered, that person went on a really hot date at the weekend and just wanted to check in, see if they were getting any texts. But the person running an I am lonely identity is only going to see that person turn their head away. They will also not have noticed the other people in the room who were very responsive to what was said. So there could be somebody else going, oh yeah, that was really interesting, tell me more. And that would have been completely not noticed, because all that person would have noticed was the head turning from someone else. And perhaps you can get a sense with this how some people can stay very stuck in their problem. So, what can we do about this? Bit of a sticky situation. What if you were who you are? A man, a woman, a brother, a mother, a sister, Bob, Sue. What if you were you and you experienced loneliness at times? It's not who you are. It's just something that you experience, that you feel, that causes a lot of discomfort in ways. And yeah, maybe some people feel it a lot of the time and some every now and again. The important thing to know is that you are still you. You're not lonely. It's not your identity. It's what you feel. It's what you experience. So who could you be now? Who would you be without that? I listened to a fab podcast the other day with Brene Brown and Vivek Murthy. He's a doctor who went out and spent a lot of time researching into loneliness. And one of the really interesting key points that he shared was that there are 3 types of loneliness, or there are 3 needs that must be met for someone to feel connected and content. So on one level, there's an intimate connection, a relationship, somebody that you're very close to, that you get to share and have a connection with. On another level, there is a social, so it's a close group of friends where you have connections. And then the third one's collective, so a community, a group of people where you share like-minded connections with values, beliefs, connections in another way. So knowing this, what are you noticing now? Are you noticing the areas where you do have connection? Are you noticing the areas where you might not have connection? And by being aware of this, it can often give a lot of understanding and relief to people when, for example, they've got a marriage, they're in a beautiful relationship with their spouse, and yet they still have a sense of emptiness, of loneliness inside. And sometimes this can put pressure on a relationship, and someone might think it's not fulfilling their needs, or they're not able to fulfill their partner's needs, when actually it's nothing to do with that relationship. It's simply that we have needs in other areas, perhaps social, perhaps the community. So just become aware of what could be coming up for you now, whether it's for yourself, whether it's for someone else. Where is your attention right now? And perhaps in a bit of time, when you've been able to process this information, just have a think about it at your own pace. Just check in with where your attention is. And by this I mean, some people will be noticing where they don't have connection. And some people will be noticing where they do have connection. And this is also another key point. Only brush the teeth you want to keep. I put in a question on my pain relief page. What does it mean to somebody? What's the opposite of loneliness? In one word, can you give us the opposite of loneliness? And we had loads of response. It was great. When I was looking it up in a dictionary, they gave me 3 words for the opposite of loneliness, and we had about 40 words, different words for loneliness. And I thought that was interesting in itself. And I believe there must be so many more words out there to represent connection and community and whatever it means to others. So could this also be an indicator of society? As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, it is a pandemic loneliness. People are so alone. People are feeling, really suffering with it. And then when I look, maybe you'll find other things. When I was looking for words that represented the opposite of loneliness, not a lot came up, but loads came up for loneliness. So I wonder if our attention And the direction of information that's out there could be influencing. Who knows? Just a thought. So, what are you noticing now as you think about where your attention often goes to? And sometimes people can be really stuck in a problem. And when someone's stuck in a problem, they often find it difficult to look beyond and look to the solution. And sometimes it can take someone from outside just to give a bit of a nudge. And even if by sharing all these words that you guys shared with me, even if just by using these and reminding someone what the opposite of loneliness is, may be able to give something. So the words that came up were happiness, friendliness, love, popular, connectedness, crowded, community, motivation, unity, belonging, contentment, support, companionship, togetherness, collectiveness, inclusiveness, family, friendship, sharing, social. It's a fat bunch of words, isn't it? So what else might be coming up for you now? The value of being able to look at things a little bit differently, change our mindsets, has a whole physical response as well. So as soon as the stressor changes, as soon as the negative feeling changes, then we can begin to think more logically, because the blood shunts in our brain, shunts from the small primitive brain, which is involved in the fight or flight, towards our frontal lobes, which are involved in logical thinking. We digest and assimilate our food. Again, the blood shunt changes and our immune system comes back on. So the benefits of focusing on what you do want, where you do have connection, on what connection, other words, connection can mean for you. The benefits of this are massive within our system. You'll know for yourself whether you're recognizing how somebody you know or yourself could be quite stuck because of an identity. You'll know for yourself what's coming up, what you're noticing in terms of the 3 different types of connection. So intimate, close group, social, and community. Or perhaps it's just the importance of focus, where our attention is. Because like they say, energy flows where attention goes. So what are you noticing now? And what doesn't loneliness mean for you?